Stop being nice is a powerful and challenging message, especially when viewed through the lens of Stoicism. In modern culture, being nice, kind, pleasing to others is often seen as a highly valued trait. However, constantly trying to make everyone happy can have negative consequences, especially when we sacrifice our values and principles in the process. From a Stoic perspective, the pursuit of being nice at all times can be a sign of weakness rather than inner strength. Let's explore why Stoicism does not encourage being nice in the way we typically think of. 1. Niceness and ethical compromise. Stoicism teaches that the ultimate goal for humans is to live according to virtue, which includes the four core principles: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. However, being overly focused on being nice often leads to ethical compromise. We may overlook injustice to avoid confrontation or accept decisions we disagree with simply because we fear upsetting others. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius encourages us to live a life of virtue based on values we control, rather than seeking approval from others. Trying to please everyone is not only futile, but also degrades our sense of self-worth. When does niceness become a problem? Niceness, in a general sense, is often an act of helping others, showing compassion, or behaving in a polite manner. However, when niceness is understood as simply pleasing others, avoiding conflict, or abandoning personal opinions to prevent discord, it ceases to be a truly moral act and becomes a manifestation of weakness and fear of judgment. In social relationships, many people feel pressured to maintain niceness to preserve peace and harmony. This is especially evident in work environments, families, and personal relationships, where causing conflict or disagreement can lead to negative consequences. However, the price of this niceness is often the sacrifice of one's values and principles. People may feel that, in order to avoid upsetting others or maintain their image in the eyes of others, they must compromise on what they truly believe. For instance, in a company meeting, an employee may feel that their opinion is important and valuable to the group, but instead of sharing their perspective, they remain silent, fear of disagreement or disapproval. This is an example of misplaced niceness, where a person chooses to stay silent to avoid conflict rather than speak the truth and act according to their principle. From a Stoic perspective, this is a failure of moral responsibility, as the person is not acting with wisdom and justice, two of the core virtues that Stoics are meant to pursue. Ethical compromise and Stoicism. Stoicism teaches that a life worth living is a life lived according to virtue. These virtues include courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance, and they must be upheld regardless of the circumstance. For Stoics, what matters is not pleasing everyone or earning praise, but living a life that aligns with deep moral values. Ethical compromise. Abandoning or diluting one's personal principles to avoid conflict is contrary to this philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic thinkers, wrote in Meditation that we should not be concerned with what others think of us, but should instead focus on whether we are acting rightly. This reminds us that, while society often encourages niceness and harmony, we must not allow these external values to overshadow our core principle. When niceness prevents us from doing the right thing or acting according to virtue, it is no longer true kindness but a form of weakness. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, also emphasized that true freedom is only achieved when we are not controlled by emotions or external judgment. Stoics do not concern themselves with whether others like them. They care only about whether they are acting in accordance with virtue and moral integrity. When we compromise our ethics to please others, we give up our personal freedom and allow others to dictate our behavior and decision. The consequences of ethical compromise. When a person continually compromises their ethics to maintain outward niceness, they not only lose their self-respect, but also affect how others perceive them. In a world where everyone has different opinions and needs, it is impossible to please everyone. Furthermore, when we abandon our principles, we may feel a deep dissatisfaction within ourselves and lose our sense of self-worth. Ethical compromise can also lead to insincere relationships. When we constantly try to please others without being truly honest about our feelings and beliefs, we are no longer living an authentic life. Others can sense this lack of genuineness. Relationships become shallow and lacking in mutual respect. Instead of building connections based on honesty and trust, we create an environment where superficiality and compromise prevail. Balancing niceness and ethical integrity. This does not mean that niceness is unimportant, but that it must be paired with ethics and principles. A person can be kind without compromising their personal values. Instead of avoiding conflict at all costs, a Stoic would face it calmly and resolutely, with the sole aim of living virtuously and doing the right thing. True niceness is not about always pleasing others, but about acting fairly, respecting others, and standing firm in one's values. If understood correctly, niceness should be an expression of moral strength, not weakness or fear. Conclusion. Niceness, when understood as constantly pleasing others, can lead to ethical compromise, eroding a person's values and self-respect. Stoicism teaches that virtue is paramount and should not be sacrificed for approval or harmony with others. In life, we need to find a balance between being kind and being steadfast in our personal principles, because only then can we truly live a mean virtue. Stoicism promotes strength, not niceness. Stoics are not concerned with being liked. They understand that not everyone will agree with or support their decisions. However, the most important thing is to act according to moral principle, even if it makes you uncomfortable or unpopular. In Letters from a Stoic, Seneca emphasizes the importance of mastering one's emotions and not letting them dictate action. Instead of yielding or softening when faced with disrespect or insult, Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and resolute in our integrity. 3. Being nice can make you vulnerable to exploitation. Constantly trying to please others can lead to being taken advantage of. People might see excessive kindness as a sign of weakness or easygoingness. This is in stark contrast to the firmness and strength of character that Stoics uphold. Those who remain steadfast in their values, no matter the opposition or criticism from the outside world. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This implies that we shouldn't waste time trying to please everyone, but instead focus on living a meaningful life and pursuing moral excellence. 4. Power of assertiveness and self-mastery. Stoicism encourages assertiveness and self-mastery rather than trying to please others. This doesn't mean we should become rude or dismissive of others' feelings, but it's about staying true to our values and ethics without being swayed by praise or criticism. Stoicism teaches that what matters is not what others think of us, but what we think of ourselves. Being nice can become a burden, making us feel pressured by others' opinions. Stoics learn to discard these external factors and focus on what they can control, our emotions and action. 5. Conclusion. Instead of being nice, live by virtue. Ultimately, the message of Stoicism is that instead of trying to be nice, we should focus on living virtuously and staying true to our values. This not only makes us stronger, it also leads to deeper self-confidence, self-respect. Stoicism teaches us that, rather than seeking approval from the outside world, we should seek peace and satisfaction from within. Stoicism doesn't ask you to stop being kind, but it points out that you shouldn't let being nice take control of your life, causing you to abandon your core values.